Hey there, it's Nether. With over 80 hours clocked into Oblivion Remastered the past 2 weeks, it is safe to say that this game hooked me like it did back in the day. Since the release, modders have been developing incredible additions and changes for the game. In this video, I will share with you the 20 most essential mods in my current mod list. Some of these mods have add-ons or companion mods that complement them, which will be covered as well. All of the recommended mods in this video have been tested thoroughly. I'm very careful with recommending something that is still heavily under development, as it can lead to more frequent crashes, incompatibility issues, corrupted game data, and all sorts of trouble that you want to prevent. The mods covered in this video are all safe to install mid-playthrough. When it comes to installing mods, I encourage you to always follow the installation instructions provided by the modder. Most Oblivion Remastered mods can easily be installed with the Nexus mod manager Vortex. A link to Vortex can be found in the video description, in addition to all mods and other dependencies. Vortex is extremely easy to use. It really is as simple as dragging and dropping your mods. If this is your first time modding an Elder Scrolls game, it is good to know that modding your game can result in locking you out of achievements. Even if you use a single console command, the game will block achievements. You can fix this easily with the Universal Achievement Unblocker mod. Once again, all mods discussed in this video, including dependencies, can be found in the video description down below. Alright, now that we got all the necessary information out of the way, it is due time to dive into the first mod. The Unique Elemental Spells mod adds unique effects to all of the pre-made elemental spells in the game, with similar effects present in the elemental spells of Skyrim. You can see all of the spell changes on the mod page. There are two versions for this mod. One that makes frost spells drain speed, and one that makes frost spells drain fatigue. I'm using the drain speed version. It makes frost spells a lot more potent and fun to use. With a slight boost to damage of spells this mod provides, it also makes magic a more viable combat style in the early days of your Oblivion adventure. The color version of a more complete world map colorizes the world map and adds a ton of details, such as more refined roads and overall a more accurate representation of the map and its terrain. Personally, I'm a sucker for old school and simplistic, but I can't go back to the original map after using this for a while. Heck, I even have the old Oblivion map on paper, which came with the Oblivion Game of the Year edition for Xbox 360. To extend these pretty colors and detail, you can also install the Shivering Isles add-on, which will pimp your Shivering Isles map as well. To complement the more complete world map, I also suggest installing the mod Better Map Menu, which reduces the size of some map UI elements and moves them around for more visual clarity. A more complete world map comes with a faux mod installer, which lets you select all the add-ons you want to install. The Better Map Menu does not though, that's a separate mod. The Balanced NPC Level Cap mod adds consistent level caps to over 1400 NPCs from the base game and all of the DLCs. This means that the level of almost every entity in your game gets a cap. In vanilla, everything around you levels up as your character levels up, without any restrictions, which is something most players dislike about Oblivion. In my opinion, you shouldn't be struggling to kill the same rat you took care of in the sewers 50 hours later in full enchanted gear. In order to cap the level of creatures, you also need to install the companion mod Simple Creature Level Cap. Ever felt like hand-to-hand combat is just utterly useless in Oblivion? Well, you're kinda right, it's not in a good spot. Way of the Strong Fist changes that, however. This mod removes the damage cap on hand-to-hand attacks. It aims to balance the damage scaling of hand-to-hand to be in line with normal weapons. It also raises the hand-to-hand block and recoil chance. There are two options for this mod. One that removes strength scaling from hand-to-hand damage, where you deal 29 damage at level 100 hand-to-hand, and the strength scaling version, where you require both 100 hand-to-hand and 100 strength to deal the max of 29 damage. Happy brawling! When you reach 95 or more base points in any of the 8 attributes available in Oblivion, the attribute caps out and you can no longer keep adding points. Simple uncapped attributes will allow you to keep adding points into that attribute. Your character ability base points will stay at 95, but the added points will show up as a permanent buff on the attribute page. This mod removes some character build restrictions and adds a lot more freedom to how you play and level up your characters. To complement the uncapped attributes, you might also want to uncap the Oblivion damage formula, with Oblivion damage formula attribute scaling uncapper. In vanilla, attribute damage scaling stops at level 100. This mod will remove that cap. Young Textures Revamped is a retexture of the quote-unquote young version of a character's face. all races included, except for Khajiits and Argonians. I suppose they just don't deserve to look young. I deem this mod essential, as young characters don't look young at all in vanilla. There's this dirty complexion in the face textures that makes characters look old instead. With these revamped textures, you get a way better indication of an NPC's age. And they just look a lot better overall. Xorberax attack cancelling lets you block while you are in the attacking animation, allowing you to animation cancel. This mod makes melee combat feel so much more intuitive and modern. It's crazy to me how much of a difference one simple change like this can make. Especially when doing a heavy attack with a big slow weapon, it can be annoying to get stuck in the animation. I also remember this being a feature in Oblivion, but my memory might be playing tricks on me. The auto local map mod will automatically open the local map when it makes sense. If you're outside, it opens the world map like normal. If you're inside a dungeon, city or interior, it will open the local map view. When you switch from local map to world map, the zoom level is maxed out by default, and the zoom value is actually configurable. You can configure any setting, the default mod changes to your preference. Having to zoom in every time to open up your local map is such a freaking chore. I can't live without this mod now. One of the biggest problems that players encounter in both versions of Oblivion are the one-time quest reward items being permanently set around the level you obtain them, with most items having a different version of itself for level 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 or 30, and sometimes even random levels. Auto-upgrade leveled items automatically replaces leveled unique items obtained as quest rewards, with a version fitting for your level as your character progresses. In addition, it will also upgrade all the unique items you have already obtained. No more worrying about what levels should or shouldn't you loot certain unique items and or complete certain quests at. The better heads-up display mod makes the compass 80% of the vanilla size and replaces it closer to the top. It moves HP, mana and stamina bars to the left while making status icons smaller. All of the other widgets are adjusted for uncluttering central screen space as well. There are a bunch of versions for this mod with varying sizes and tweaks. Check them out and find your HUD of preference. In addition to better HUD, I also recommend no HUD, no effects. This is a mod for reshade that lets you toggle your entire heads-up display and various elements of the heads-up display individually. It is beyond me how hiding the HUD is not a default feature in vanilla. Perhaps the biggest complaint I have for the game, we get this masterpiece of a remaster that looks absolutely gorgeous and we can't even hide our HUD to enjoy the view and take some pictures? Well, now you can. No need to be scared of performance loss either while using reshade and this mod. As long as you're not altering any shaders, you won't lose any performance. The installation instructions provided by the author should be crystal clear, but if you have any question about reshade, please shoot it in the comments. Bow Sound Redesigned replaces the vanilla bow sounds with more light and impactful sounds. I'm not a big fan of the vanilla bow sounds, and this mod is a major improvement for me personally. To make bow combat feel even better, you can also install Bow Release Animation Cancel, which increases your overall bow firing rate by about 25% by removing a part of the animation. On top of this, I also recommend to install Better Reticle to replace the vanilla crosshair, which I find very intrusive. The author offers multiple options to customize your crosshair. I am using the smaller dot reticle for all weapons myself. On the topic of sound overhauls, Armor Sound Overhaul is yet another sound mod from the same author as Bow Sound Redesigned, that completely overhauls, you've guessed it, your old Nokia's ringtone. I mean armor sounds, of course. A lot of gamers still underestimate how important sound design is in video games and how much it can help with immersion. The sounds this mod provides are top-notch and are a major improvement over the vanilla armor sounds. Have you ever made a bad spell on accident that will now forever clog up your spell list? This mod lets you fix that. Simple and straightforward, this mod lets you delete any spell from your spellbook. When navigating the magic menu, you can now shift plus left click on a spell and a prompt will ask if you want to delete the spell. Be warned, you never want to remove any of the default spells you get at the start of the game, as it may break things. Enhanced light radius increases the distance at which you'll see light from static torches, campfires, tombstones, A-lit wells, etc. It's not exactly at the level of lanterns of Skyrim yet. Oh boy, do I wish we get a lanterns mod for Oblivion, but this is a great start. Beware that there is a very small performance impact when using this mod, so I recommend to go with the 2x range version. The 3x range version will draw lights even further away from the player, but it doesn't really add much at the cost of too many frames. If you think that vanilla Oblivion Remastered is as good as it will get graphically without major performance impact, you are very much mistaken. Lumen Remastered drastically improves lumen shadows by reducing skylight intensity, improving auto exposure, adding color correction, and all at the cost of 0 performance impact. This mod mostly changes outdoor lighting and shadows, and indoor lighting is a lot darker thanks to better auto exposure settings and more local contrast. The most notable improvement from this mod is that it makes night actually feel like night. If you decide to use this mod, you better bring your torch at night or in dungeons. You can also toggle the mod on and off in game using Alt plus Delete to easily compare scenes. The Brigher Torches mod pairs great with Lumen Remastered. The vanilla torchlight radius simply doesn't cut it when scenes that are supposed to look dark actually look dark. You can increase the torchlight radius to 1.5x or 2x. I also recommend the mod Torch Position Fix, which moves the torch to be further away from your face, improving your line of sight and gaming experience while using a torch. There are 2 versions for this mod. I'm using the alternate Torch Position Fix, which puts the torch a bit higher so it's barely in view, but that's just a personal preference. Female Locomotion Replacer replaces the passive locomotion animations for female characters in Oblivion Remastered, introducing more feminine movement. It includes new walking, running and sprinting animations, along with a new idle posture. Perhaps it doesn't sound like much, but this mod makes a massive difference. The ladies of Oblivion deserve their femininity. I honestly have no idea why the developers toned down the femininity found in Cyrodiil, changing the appearance of a bunch of female NPCs, statues and more. But that's a topic for a different video. Greener Grass changes the grass and landscape texture color to something that looks a lot more like Oblivion Cyrodiil. Since this is a simple texture replacer, it has 0 impact on performance. You'd be surprised how much of a difference it makes visually. Greener Grass offers several versions. I prefer the V3 version myself. By default, Oblivion Remastered uses a damage multiplier of 5 for its difficulty settings. That leads to extreme jumps in difficulty between the multiple slider options. Less and more extreme difficulty settings aims to reduce those extreme jumps. This mod comes with a FOMod installer, which lets you select the version you prefer. The 3x multiplier is the sweet spot for me, which lowers all vanilla difficulties by 40%, and I got my game difficulty set on expert. Personally, I would have much preferred if Oblivion Remastered had the same 100-point difficulty slider that Oblivion uses. We have arrived at the final mod on this list, but definitely not the least. Oblivion Remastered Wilderness Overhaul, or ORWO for short, is a mod with the sole focus of completely overhauling the wilderness of all of Cyrodiil. Experience new creatures and current creatures like never before, featuring multiple new enemies and mini-bosses to find across your travels throughout Cyrodiil. This makes exploring the world map even more exciting. It really makes the world feel that much more alive and diverse. It is important to note that you need to wait at least 72 hours in-game time for the mod to start working. That concludes it for my 20 Oblivion Remastered mods you can't play without. My current mod list is already closing in on 100 plus mods, but I simply couldn't fit them all in one video, so I picked the most important ones for you. Hopefully you've discovered at least one mod that sounds interesting to you. If so, please consider liking this video. Subscribe for future Oblivion Remastered videos, mod showcases, and much more. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a wonderful time with the game. Till we meet again.